football match. Blue versus red.
It is the only ground I've ever gone to thinking this is so intimidating.
I think it's a real special place to play football. The atmosphere we've had there at times has been incredible.
This is Merseyside. This is the Merseyside Derby.
Neto clear, round the goalkeeper, and he steers it in from the angle, and Everton are in front.
Moyes just went back into Goodison, into Everton, and it was like putting on a sort of an old glove that fitted just sort of perfectly.
Players look like they're trying to win a game rather than not lose a game. It looks like there's a different mentality amongst the group.
To resist the complete atmosphere and you still have to be focused on what you have to do. It's not only tactical, you also have to stand up to those emotions.
To the far post, Salah! 2-0!
On form, you know, you put down Liverpool to win, but form does not really count in derbies.
In a city where the rivalry is always true, it's the Merseyside Derby, and it's live on TalkSport.
You're listening to the Sports Bar on TalkSport with TalkSport Bet. Visit TalkSportBet.com today for exclusive offers and bonuses. 18 plus. BigGambleWed.org. Paul McAllister from the Toffees Blues podcast joins us now. Right, Paul?
Good morning, lads.
Paul, just how special will later tonight be, considering it's the final Merseyside derby at Goodison?
That doesn't even feel real. I mean, the end of Goodison is creeping up slowly but surely. It's one of these things I've been trying to put out of my mind. I think a lot of supporters are not quite ready to say goodbye to Goodison just yet, but we understand why we've got to go. But to think this fixture, which has so much history, this is going to be the final one, and we'll never see Liverpool at Goodison Park again for this type of event, it still feels surreal.
Paul, there is a part of me, actually, even though I've got no links with either Everton or Liverpool, but there's a part of me that feels that emotion, that it's a bit of melancholy, a bit of sadness, but also a bit of excitement about where Everton are going to go. Do you think that this could either help or hinder Everton tomorrow night?
Oh, I'm a bit back and forth on this, to be honest, because I think the way to hurt Liverpool, to get at Liverpool, I think is to kind of be a bit cynical and kind of stay in your shape and be rigid and let's just say how it is, just be a bit negative and try to hit them on the counter. But that's not what the fans are turning up to the ground to see because of the occasion. Fans want a raucous atmosphere. They want to see the team get on the front foot. They want to see us kind of be up and at them and go and get in Liverpool's face. And that's kind of understandable, but I'm just worried that's kind of going to be playing into Liverpool's hands a little bit with the offensive options they've got. Did
you think the emotion of the night might affect in a positive or a negative way? And I suppose in vice versa, Liverpool might feel they can take advantage of that emotion.
It's happened in the past when Everton have let ourselves get too fired up for these type of games where we've wanted to win so much that we've ended up just getting the emotion wrong. Ex-players have talked about it for both clubs. They've said they've gone into these games where it just feels like Everton are just too fired up, and I'm hoping that we can channel it in the right way, but it's just the occasions where we've managed to do that have just been too few and far between over the last 20 years. But if there's ever a time to do it, then it would be now, wouldn't it?
Paul, you expecting a reaction from the players after the FA Cup exit at the weekend?
I'm hoping so. I think it will be the same team, maybe one change here or there. We played, I think that's probably the strongest team we had available for that Bournemouth game. So it wasn't like the situation with Liverpool where they just made a raft of changes and maybe one or two players didn't take their chance. I think David Moyes is just kind of stuck with this lot that he's got, and I hope he's managed to challenge them in the last few days and say, right, lads, you know what happened in the Cup wasn't good enough. This is an even bigger game. The fans want to win this one even more. Go and make it up to them and show that you're better than what where you are in the table. So I'm hoping there's going to be a reaction, but you're going to have to assume that Liverpool are going to have a tremendous reaction themselves because they won't have liked how they've been basically a laughing stock for the last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important point, actually, because I think everyone, I'm guessing you as well, expect them to rock up at Plymouth, go and win the game, reasonably comfortable, come back, rest all the players. But you don't know what that defeat will do. I know that there's bigger fish to fry. But I just wonder, do you feel that this might be almost a better time to play Liverpool, or is it a worse time to play them, bearing in mind what happened at the weekend?
I think it's probably a worse time. What happened on Sunday with Plymouth, that was kind of Arne Slot's first slip up, I'd imagine, his first big mistake as Liverpool manager. And best way for him to get the fans back on side, anyone who's doubting him, is to him to rock up at Goodison and put a stick and a beating on Everton, isn't it? And then all of a sudden he's the Wales' oyster again with Liverpool fans. So, yeah, I'm not too sure whether this is the type of game where I actually might have preferred Sean Dyche as the Everton manager. There's not many games where I would say that. I'm happy that David Moyes is here, but I think maybe Sean Dyche's approach might have worked in Everton's favour for this game. But part of me's wondering where we would have been better off playing this game when it was originally meant to be in December rather than now.
But David Moyes has shown, actually, he can get there's a bit more balance under David Moyes than there was under Sean Dyche, but I hear you. But that balance, therefore, gives you a little bit more of an attacking threat. I know the weekend was disappointing, but, you know, if you can derail Liverpool, and let's be honest, there's not an Evertonian listening to this that wouldn't love to put a nail in their Premier League title-winning coffin. David Moyes has got a bit more balance about it.
I'd like to think so. The players that Everton have got, or the squad overall, it's not fantastic, but it shouldn't have been in the position where Sean Dyche left it, to me. Sean Dyche, I think, has definitely got his positives as a manager, and overall, I think the job he did at Everton was very respectable in the circumstances that he was dealing with, but it just felt like those last few months that he kind of hit the wall a little bit and he got too set in his ways, and it felt like we were a tortoise that was stuck in its shell. And David Moyes has come in and he's not made great changes. He's just made subtle tweaks here and there. And we've seen it pay off so far. We've got 3 wins out of 4. And I don't think Everton have been lucky in any of the games that we've won, whether it was Tottenham, whether it was Brighton, whether it was Leicester. I thought we were good value for all those victories. So it's not like he's come in and just kind of got lucky at all. I really like what we've been doing, but you've got to be realistic as well. We're not going to be doing to Liverpool what we did to Leicester, which was scoring after 10 seconds, whatever it was. We're not going to be 3-0 up at half time, surely. We're not going to do what we did to Tottenham, where their players just kind of gave up after things got hard. And we're not going to do what we did to Brighton, where they run out of ideas pretty quick. Liverpool the table doesn't lie, does it? They're the best team in the country at the moment. So, yeah, David Moyes is a manager his record looks pretty good right now, but I'm not expecting Everton to put the rocket boosters on and to keep winning and to fly up the table. I think he's just kind of getting a little bit more out of it than Sean Dyche was.
We've had some Everton fans call the show that were disappointed David Moyes was appointed. Are there still fans you feel that aren't happy he's back?
I don't know. David Moyes has got a bit mixed reputation amongst Everton fans. I think the majority really respect him and really love what he did with the club, because the job he did looks even better now, considering what happened after he left, the turmoil that we've went through over the last however many years under the Merseyside. But David Moyes has never quite been that sort of beloved figure amongst Evertonians. You know, he's not a Joe Royle, he's not a Duncan Ferguson, he's not a Howard Kendall. There is a bit of Evertonians who were not happy about the way he left the club and the manner that he did. But I think there is a huge amount of respect there, and we do appreciate that. He's the most qualified person to do the job at this moment in time. So if there's fans who are grumbling that where he came back, I think it's more because they're just holding on to old gripes rather than the fact that they think, oh, there was another appointment out there we could have went and got and he would have done the job even better. I think most fans realise that we're lucky to have him in the situation, considering what's happened since he left.
Looking further afield, what has David Moyes got to do over the next 12 to 18 months to turn those fans around?
Just keep winning football matches. Football fans are fickle, aren't we? If the manager's winning, then we'll overlook all the other things that we don't like, and we'll convince ourselves that basically this manager's the best thing since sliced bread. So really, I think one thing that would really help him is if the club manages to bring in a few really good quality players. They say managers live and die by the recruitment, and the recruitment's just been nowhere near good enough over the last few years. So David Moyes has got a very good track record when it comes to recruitment. He knows a good footballer. He knows the type of personalities he wants in the dressing room and to build a really good environment. So I think if we just get a few good players in, recruitment-wise, and if we maybe get a few big results, starting with this Derby win, a win at the last game at Goodison, I think the fans will turn around and think, you know what, David Moyes really is that sort of Everton legend, and it was a brilliant time that he was here, first time and second time, and I love the fact that he's back. So that's what I would say David Moyes needs to do.
Paul, have you noticed any changes in David Moyes? Because I know when he was Everton manager, you'd have watched him close up and personal. You've had decisions and opinions on decisions he made. When he's been away for the time he has, been to West Ham and done what he's done, and he's come back now. I know it's very early still, But are there any changes in his managerial style, team selection, or anything that you've noticed? Or is it literally the David Moyes that we used to have?
I've noticed a few changes. He started doing this at West Ham, I believe, where he's gone with the three at the back sort of sweeper system. He never did that in his first reign that I remember. Everton under David Moyes in the 2000s and the early part of 2010s, it was always a rigid back four. I mean, he had wing backs and Leighton Baines and Seamus Coleman, but who flew up and down the flanks. But he always believed in two centre halves who knew their job, sort of thing, and didn't ever go out wide and look to get on the ball if they didn't need to. Just playing this 3-5-1-1 system that he's kind of adopted is something very, very different. I didn't expect it when he came back, because one player who's benefited from that is the guy we signed in the summer, Jake O'Brien, the Irish international. He didn't get a look in under Sean Dyche, and a lot of fans were thinking, will we ever see this guy? Because now we're bringing back David Moyes, and he's surely not going to change up the back four. The back four was the least of Everton's problems, but that's what he's done, and it's paying off so far. So other than the fact that he hasn't got red hair anymore, can't sing that song, David Moyes, he's got red hair, but we don't care. Tactically, I think he's a little bit more flexible than he was previously. Managers are always going to have their ideas and their philosophies, but I think David Moyes is not so sort of rigid in his thinking, whereas one of the gripes we had about it before was sometimes it got a bit too samey.
And before we let you go, Paul, what's your final score prediction?
You know what? I would absolutely love to predict Everton are going to win, but the way Liverpool are going at the moment and the way Everton are limited in what we can do tactically with the striker situation, I think it's going to be a 1-1. I don't see us keeping Liverpool out, but we were able to hurt Liverpool last season with the set pieces. I fancy us to do the same again, so I'm going to go for a score draw, a 1-1. I will make this prediction, though, for you, lads. Mo Salah is going to get a penalty, because the guy is going to throw himself on the floor and the referee's going to point to the spot. We all know it's going to happen. I read a crazy stat the other day. Everton haven't had a penalty in a Goodison Park derby for over 20 years, since April 2001. And in that time, Liverpool have had 9 penalties at Goodison. And how many penalties does Mohamed Salah get for Liverpool? I've lost count. So that's a little side prediction. I think Liverpool are going to get a controversial decision go their way, but I do think Everton are going to have enough with the emotion and everything, and David Moyes is long enough in the tooth to play it smart. I think Everton are going to manage to get something out of the game.
Paul, top man, mate, thanks for coming on. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Game with No Name.